The morning felt damp and chilly, much like most of my days since Margaret had passed away. At 78, every day starts with aches in various parts of the body and ends with memories of those who no longer join you for meals. I, Oliver Landon, had grown accustomed to solitude in this house in Hyannisport, with its surrounding land that Margaret and I purchased back in the 80s. It is a large two-story home overlooking Nantucket Sound, an area I still try to keep up despite my arthritis. That morning, I was preparing my usual oatmeal for breakfast. The television in the kitchen played the local news, the only sound piercing the quiet of the house. I was just about to sit at the table when I heard a car approaching. I glanced out the window and spotted my son Ethan's silver SUV. What on earth? I muttered to myself. Ethan typically gave me notice instead of arriving at my door at 7 in the morning. I stepped onto the porch in my old robe. 4 people emerged from the vehicle: my son Ethan, his wife Beatrice, and my grandchildren Tyler and Allison. Beatrice immediately began unloading the luggage, without even greeting me. Dad. Ethan offered a forced smile as he ascended the steps. We decided to visit, with 6 suitcases in tow. I nodded toward the trunk where Tyler was retrieving another bag. We intend to stay for a bit, Ethan replied, avoiding my eyes. We are renovating. As I mentioned on the phone, I recalled no such thing. Our last conversation was 3 weeks ago, and Ethan had only inquired about my health and retirement. How long will you be here? I asked directly. A few weeks? Perhaps a month? Ethan shrugged. Do not worry. We will not disturb you. He patted my shoulder and entered the house. Beatrice followed, giving me a slight nod while clutching her stylish purse and phone. Hi, Grandpa, Tyler mumbled, passing by with 2 suitcases. Hello, Grandpa. Allison at least attempted a smile, but she quickly focused on her phone. I stood on the porch, gazing over Nantucket Sound, realizing my tranquil life had just come to an end. It took me around 15 minutes to compose myself and re-enter the house, now filled with others' voices and scents. In the kitchen, Beatrice was emptying my refrigerator. Oliver, this cheese expired 4 days ago, she exclaimed, holding up a pack of cheddar. And what is this awful sausage? It is loaded with nitrates, enough to kill you instantly. I watched quietly as she discarded groceries I had bought just 3 days prior. I wanted to mention that I had reached 78 eating what I pleased, but I restrained myself. Meanwhile, Ethan wandered the house, inspecting rooms and talking on his phone. Dad, he said, returning to the kitchen, Beatrice and I will use the master bedroom. All right, you'll be more comfortable downstairs, avoiding the stairs. Something tightened inside me. The master bedroom was where I had slept with Margaret for 45 years. Her photos still stood there, her books scattered about. I am perfectly fine in my bedroom, I responded, striving for calm. I climb the stairs daily. It helps my joints. But Dad, Beatrice interjected, you are 78. Climbing stairs at your age is risky. What if you fall at night heading to the bathroom? I have a bathroom upstairs? I countered. And I have never fallen down the stairs in my life. There is a first time for everything, Beatrice stated. Ethan, explain to your father we are worried about his safety. Ethan regarded me with that mix of pity and annoyance I had noticed in his eyes lately. Dad, please. It is only for a few weeks. Plus, the downstairs bedroom is quite comfortable. Comfortable was not how I would describe the old guest room. It had a narrow bed, an aged dresser, and little else. But arguing seemed pointless. I nodded and went upstairs to collect my belongings. Relocating to the small room consumed the entire day. Not due to many items, but because each object in the master bedroom evoked a memory. The photo of Margaret and me on the beach in Cape May. Our wedding rings in a box on the dresser. Her favorite vase that I never stored after her death. By evening, when I finished, The house no longer resembled the one I had inhabited for the past 35 years. Beatrice had hung modern artwork, placed her decorations on the mantel, and relocated my photographs. The living room now contained Ethan's large suitcase, which he had not bothered to store. The grandchildren occupied the upstairs second bedroom, once my office, from which loud music and video game sounds now emanated. At dinner, prepared by Beatrice from organic items she brought, I felt like a visitor at my own table. Ethan and Beatrice discussed their plans, excluding me from the conversation. "We must repaint the kitchen," Beatrice said. "That terrible yellow shade looks so dated. But it was Margaret's favorite color." I protested. "She selected that paint herself. Oliver. That was 25 years ago." Beatrice rolled her eyes. "No one uses yellow in kitchens anymore. I envision light gray with mint accents." "This is my house," I reminded her, "and I do not plan to repaint it." "Dad," Ethan interrupted, "we simply want to update things a bit. It will benefit the house's value too." "Are you intending to sell my house?" Anger surged within me. "Of course not," Ethan responded swiftly. "But maintaining the property well is always smart." I observed how he and Beatrice exchanged glances. Something in that look unsettled me. After dinner, the grandchildren vanished upstairs without helping with dishes. I began loading the dishwasher, but Beatrice halted me. "Oliver, you are doing it incorrectly. Rinse the plates first, or the machine will clog. I have used this dishwasher for 12 years, I replied. "I know how it operates." "Ethan," Beatrice turned to my son, who sat in the living room on his laptop. "Tell your father he might damage the machine." Ethan did not look up. "Dad, please follow Beatrice's advice. She is better with appliances." I left the kitchen silently and entered my new room. I sat on the bed's edge and, for the first time that day, felt emotionally exhausted. I withdrew from my pocket the photo of Margaret I always carried. "What would you do in my place?" "Dear," I whispered, gazing at her smiling face. The ensuing days became a true trial. Beatrice imposed a new routine without consulting me. Breakfast now occurred at 8. Not 7, as I preferred. My morning coffee was swapped for herbal tea, since caffeine harms your heart at your age. Oliver. My favored television programs were deemed too noisy and obsolete. Instead, the living room featured endless reality shows Beatrice viewed or sports channels Ethan selected. One day, I returned from a morning stroll and discovered my lifelong collection of old records missing from the living room. "Where are my records?" I asked Beatrice, who was placing decorative candles on the shelf where my player once stood. Oh, that old clutter. She did not even face me. I stored it in the garage. It gathered so much dust. And Allison is allergic. "It is not clutter," I said indignantly. "Some are rare editions. They hold value." "Oliver, no one listens to records nowadays." She finally turned with that condescending smile I despised. "If you desire music, Tyler can teach you Spotify." I exited the house and went to the garage. My records were stacked in an old cardboard box, some covers wrinkled. I carefully extracted them, inspecting for harm. The first edition of Miles Davis's Kind of Blue I bought in the 60s. The Ella Fitzgerald albums Margaret adored so much, all tossed carelessly like trash. I carried the box to my room and concealed it under the bed. At least Beatrice could not reach them there. The grandchildren scarcely spoke to me. Tyler was always occupied, attending job interviews or meeting friends. Allison spent most time in her room, occasionally descending for refrigerator items. When I attempted to discuss college or her plans, she replied monosyllabically and soon excused herself. One day, I offered assistance with her school project. "I can aid your research." I said, "After all, I served as a postal inspector for 35 years and know about organizing data." Allison looked at me with that youthful expression implying an old man is outdated. "Thanks, Grandpa, but I will Google it," she replied, and returned to her laptop, a week after their arrival. I found Beatrice had discarded my old photo albums from the hall closet. Why would you do that? I could not believe my eyes seeing the albums in the backyard trash. Oliver, they occupied too much space, and we needed storage for our items. She answered without apology. Besides, those old photos can be scanned digitally. It is far more practical. These albums are my life, I said, retrieving them from the trash. Pictures of my parents, my youth, Ethan's childhood, Dad. Ethan intervened, appearing as usual after the conflict began. We are merely tidying up. There is too much stuff. I looked at him. This is my house, and these items are my life. I did not request a cleanup, but you live alone, Ethan said in that tone used for the elderly. Managing such a large house is difficult for you. We are just assisting. I took the albums to my room, adding them to the expanding collection of items I rescued from Beatrice. My small room gradually became a storage for my life, systematically removed from the rest of the house. That night, sitting on my narrow bed, flipping through the salvaged albums, I pondered my future seriously for the first time. It was clear Ethan and Beatrice did not plan to depart in a few weeks, as claimed. They were settling in, altering the house to their tastes, slowly displacing me and my possessions. I felt like a specter in my own home, my traces methodically erased. I gazed at the photo of Margaret and me, before this house the day we bought it. We were so joyful then, brimming with plans and hopes. We envisioned aging here, sitting on the porch, watching sunsets over Nantucket Sound. Margaret did not live to see it. Cancer claimed her 6 years ago. And now I risked losing the house we cherished, too. I could not allow that. I must find a way to retain control before it was too late. Everything shifted one rainy Sunday. 3 weeks after my house became another's domain, I sat in my room, as I had lately, rereading old letters to Margaret and listening to jazz on my phone via headphones. Tyler had shown me Spotify, after all. It was the sole useful occurrence these days. Rain drizzled outside, drops sliding down the glass, reminding me of rainy days spent with Margaret by the fireplace, discussing books and future plans. A soft knock on the door pulled me from my thoughts. I removed my headphones and invited entry, expecting Ethan or Beatrice with another grievance, but Allison's head appeared in the doorway. "Grandpa, may I come in?" she asked hesitantly. "Of course, enter." I was surprised and pleased. My granddaughter had rarely sought my company since their arrival. Allison stepped in and paused awkwardly in the room's center, looking around. I realized it was her first view of what my space had become, a storehouse of rescued items, memories, and things Beatrice deemed outdated and unneeded. "Wow," she said, eyeing stacks of books, albums, and record boxes. "I see where all the living room stuff went." "Not all," I replied. "Much your mother simply discarded." Allison winced and sat on the bed's edge. "Grandpa, I came to warn you." Her tone made me alert, about what I overheard my parents talking. She lowered her gaze. "Mom decided her parents are moving here. Grandma Patricia and Grandpa Gary. They are selling their house in Rehoboth Beach." A chill swept through me. Even if twice as large, the house lacked space for this group. But it was not merely about room and a Where do they plan to place them, I asked, though suspecting the answer. "That is why I came." Allison fidgeted with her t-shirt hem. "Mom and Dad think you would fare better elsewhere." "What elsewhere?" My voice trembled, though I aimed for calm. "A retirement home." Allison squeezed out. "They found a spot in Lewis and made a deposit. They say professionals will care for you. No worries about cooking or cleaning." Anger rose in me like a wave. Ethan and Beatrice planned to oust me from my home for her parents. "When will they inform me?" I asked, keeping my voice steady. "Tonight," she answered, waiting for Tyler back from his interview. "They want the family united. Except me, I suppose." I smiled bitterly. "I am no longer family. Am I Grandpa? Do not say that," Allison protested. "It is just they believe it best for all. Mom says you cannot live alone anymore, and they are too busy to care for you." care for me. I stood from my chair, energized by indignation. I have cared for myself 78 years. I worked as a postal inspector 35 years, raised your father, built this house with your grandmother Margaret, and now they view me as an incapable old man needing a nursing home. Allison appeared startled by my outburst. She had never seen me angry. I took a deep breath to calm. Sorry. Allison, I said softer. I appreciate your warning. At least I have time to prepare. What will you do? She asked worriedly. I do not know yet, I answered truthfully. But I will not surrender without resistance. In the evening, as Allison predicted, Ethan convened a family meeting in the living room. I sat in my old chair, the only item Beatrice could not discard because I refused to rise when she tried cleaning it, and observed my relatives' faces. Ethan seemed tense. Beatrice tapped her foot impatiently. Tyler stared at his phone, feigning absence. And Allison avoided my eyes. Dad, Ethan began after a lengthy pause. We wish to discuss the future. My future, I clarified. Meeting his gaze, or this house's future. Ethan hesitated, but Beatrice seized control. Oliver, she said in a tone for a fussy child, we all see living alone is hard for you. You forget medications. You eat poorly. The house is run down. We worry about you. Really, I could not avoid sarcasm, sir. I thought you worried about housing your parents. Beatrice flinched, and Ethan glanced quickly at Allison, who shrank in her seat. Dad, let us be frank, Ethan said. Ethan, yes. Beatrice's parents sell their house and move nearer, but that is separate. We truly concern for your health and safety. So much you decided to evict me from my home. My hands shook with anger, but I spoke calmly. We found an ideal place, Beatrice interjected. Pinehaven is not merely a nursing home, but a vibrant community for active seniors, with a pool, library, planned trips. I knew she lied. Pinehaven was the area's cheapest facility, with minimal services and poor reputation. I had read about it in the local paper. It suffered constant understaffing, and the building needed repairs. I am not going anywhere, I said firmly. This is my home, and I stay. Dad, be sensible. Ethan leaned forward. You cannot live here alone, and we cannot tend you constantly. We have lives, jobs, kids. I did not ask you to tend me. I reminded. You arrived, decided to rule my life. Now want to discard me for Beatrice's parents. Oliver, Beatrice was outraged. How dare you? We think only of your well-being. Then leave me be, I replied. Depart, and let me live as before. That is impossible, Ethan said. We have decided. You move to Pinehaven in 4 days, and if I refuse, I straightened. Heart pounding. Dad, do not complicate this. Ethan sighed. It is inevitable. At your age, eventually everyone enters a nursing home. Better now while active enough to adapt. I looked at my son and barely recognized him. When did he become so cold and calculating? Where was the boy I taught to bike? The boy I read bedtime stories to? The boy I consoled after his first heartbreak? This is my home, I repeated. I am not leaving. If you do not go willingly, Beatrice said with barely hidden irritation, we must seek guardianship. Ethan consulted a lawyer. At your age, a few doctors' testimonies suffice to declare you needing oversight. A chill ran down my spine. They threatened to strip not just my home, but my life control. Would you do that to your father? I asked Ethan. Incredulous. He averted his eyes. Dad, do not escalate. Just agree to move, and all will be well. I saw I had lost this battle. They would do anything to remove me. With advantages of youth, legal know-how, resources, I had only stubbornness and injustice sense. Fine, I said at last. I will go to your nursing home, but do not think I will ever forgive this. The next 4 days blurred. I watched Beatrice and Ethan pack my things, deciding what I needed in the nursing home and what was surplus. Most books, my lifelong stamp collection. Many photos were deemed unnecessary and garaged. I could take only clothes, some personal items, and photos. Pinehaven rooms were small, unfit for much. Allison aided by sneaking items Beatrice set aside into my suitcase. She alone seemed truly distressed. "Grandpa, I am so sorry," she whispered, packing a photo album. "I tried talking to Mom and Dad, but they ignore me." "Do not blame yourself, dear," I replied, patting her head. "You could change nothing." On moving day, I awoke early and went to the backyard. Fog lingered over Nantucket Sound, water silvery in morning light. I stood long, absorbing the view part of my life for years. Margaret and I loved veranda evenings, watching sunsets paint sky and water pink and gold. Now, I wondered if I would see it again. Ethan found me an hour later. "Dad, time to go," he said, attempting cheer. "The car is loaded." I nodded, took one final look at the Sound, then turned toward the house. Ethan's SUV parked by the porch. 2 suitcases and a box in the trunk. All remaining of my life. Beatrice fussed, checking locks, ensuring nothing forgotten. She appeared almost relieved, as if my removal was a great ease. "Oliver," she said as I neared the car, "remember your pills. I placed them in your suitcase's side pocket and made a schedule. Give it to the nurse on arrival." I did not respond, just sat in the back beside Allison. Tyler stayed home. He had an important meeting, he claimed. I was glad he did not come. One fewer witness to my humiliation. The drive to Pine Haven lasted about 40 minutes. I stared out at familiar spots passing. The post office where I worked, the park where I strolled with Margaret, the shop where I bought her flowers each Friday. Feeling part of me perish. Pine Haven matched my expectations. A drab, 3-story gray brick structure ringed by sparse trees and a tidy but lifeless lawn. No sign of the active community Beatrice described. Through windows, elderly sat in the common room, blankly watching TV. "It looks pleasant," Allison said uncertainly as we exited. "Do not pretend, dear," I replied softly. "We both know what this is." The receptionist, a plump, middle-aged woman with a forced smile and weary eyes, guided us through intake, showed my room, a tiny space with narrow bed, nightstand, closet, and provided meal and medication schedules. "Dinner at 5:30, she said, checking papers. "Not me. Do not be late. Or wait until breakfast." Ethan and Beatrice helped unpack, taking mere minutes due to few items. Then came farewell. "Dad?" Ethan looked uneasy. "We will visit. Perhaps not immediately. We must aid Beatrice's parents' move, but we will come soon." I said nothing. What to say? That I wanted no sight of them. That betrayal was unforgivable. That they ruined my life for convenience. Allison hugged me tightly, her tears wetting my shirt. "I will visit, Grandpa," she whispered. "I promise." "I know, dear," I replied, stroking her back. "Care for yourself when they departed." I sat on the bed's edge and, for the first time in ages, allowed tears. They flowed down my cheeks as I stared at the bare walls of this unfamiliar room. Now my home. The first week at Pine Haven was my life's worst. Food bland, routine stifling, community depressing. Most residents older than me or with severe health issues. Some had dementia, not recognizing visiting children. I spent most time in my room, reading few books I brought or viewing photos. Sometimes I entered the common room, staring at the parking lot, hoping for Allison's car, but it never came. On my 11th day at Pine Haven, something altered everything. I sat in the dining hall, attempting to eat what they called chicken stew but resembled glue, when a familiar voice spoke. "Oliver. Oliver Landon." It cannot be. I looked up and saw a tall, thin man with gray beard regarding me with real surprise. Frank I could not believe. Frank Dawson Frank was my postal service colleague. Later, a bank worker. We were friends years, but lost contact after his wife's death when he moved to his daughters in Baltimore. "What the devil are you doing in this poorhouse?" he asked. Sitting opposite, my devoted son decided I belong here. I smiled bitterly. "And you, I have been here 9 months, Frank replied. After my second stroke, my daughter said she could not care for me. I was too weak to argue. We conversed through lunch and lingered in the common room. Frank shared his life post-move, how his daughter sold his house, how he lost most belongings, how he gradually accepted his new reality. But you, he said, eyeing me closely, you are still robust. You walk unaided. Your mind sharp, hands steady. What of your house? I recounted the entire tale. How Ethan and Beatrice invaded my life, gradually forcing me out. How they evicted me for Beatrice's parents. And the house is theirs now? Frank asked when I finished. No. I shook my head. That is the irony. The house remains in my name. Ethan was to transfer it 2 years ago, but delayed for gift tax. Said he would handle it. Better to wait until until you pass on, Frank said bluntly. He always called things plainly. Exactly, I nodded. And while in my name, they just occupy it. Frank stroked his chin thoughtfully. Oliver, he said after a pause, if legally yours, you can do as you wish. Like sell it. Sell it I had never considered. The house was part of me, where most life occurred, memories preserved. Think on it. Frank leaned nearer. Your son and daughter-in-law discarded you like nothing. They reside in your house. Use your things. Sent you here to fade. Why not teach them a lesson? I began seeing his point. You mean sell it from under them, I asked? Hope stirring in my chest. Precisely. Frank grinned widely. I spent 25 years in banking. Oliver, I know these matters. If in your name, you have full right to sell. They need not know until finalized. I imagined Ethan and Beatrice's faces learning they could no longer live there. Perfect retribution. But where would I go, I asked. Even selling. Funds might not suffice for a new place with current prices. I considered that. Frank narrowed his eyes. My nephew runs a real estate firm in Lewis. He could find a buyer agreeing to let you stay in a guest house or addition. Many wealthy seek property in Hyannisport, willing to terms for a fine house. A plan formed in my mind. This might succeed. I could reclaim my life and avenge betrayal. Frank, I said, eyeing my old friend with fresh resolve. Tell me more about this nephew. As promised, Frank introduced me to his nephew, Henry Dawson. The next day, Henry was an energetic man around 45, with sharp eyes and a keen look reminding me of sharks I saw off the Gulf Coast. He visited Pine Haven pretending to see his uncle, and we met in the small garden behind, where residents rarely went for lack of benches and shade. Uncle Frank shared your situation, Mr. Landon, Henry said after greetings, and I believe I can assist. Do you truly think someone would buy a house with a burden like me? I asked frankly. I pondered Frank's plan all night, doubting feasibility. Henry smiled, revealing perfect teeth, clearly costly. Mr. Landon, you undervalue Hyannisport real estate appeal. Prices rose 25% last 2 years. A house overlooking Nantucket Sound with that lot. Trust me. Buyers will concede for a prime property. But could my son contest the sale? That was my chief fear. He resides there. If registered in your name, no documents limit your disposal, like life estate or residency gift. Then legally you can sell Your son contests only proving incapacity or duress. That is why they placed me here. I smiled bitterly. To ease proving incapacity later. Thus we act swiftly and cautiously. Henry nodded. I will prepare documents, find buyers, conduct viewings while your son works. No one knows until contract signed and recorded. And organizing viewings I could not envision secretly showing while Ethan and Beatrice worked. I am confined here. Do you have house keys? Henry asked. I nodded. On arrival at Pine Haven, I pocketed keys in my jacket, unnoticed. Excellent. I will arrange outings for you. Officially, socialization program for residents. Groups to malls, museums, parks. Common in such places, I will coordinate with administration to include you. Wait outside in my car. The plan resembled a spy mission. And part of me could not believe a 78-year-old retired postal inspector. Seriously contemplated it, but the part recalling humiliation of banishment from home craved justice. What if Ethan or Beatrice home during viewing? I always confirm clear beforehand. Henry replied assuredly. Standard in my field. Sometimes sell houses amid divorces where one opposes. Trust me, I handled delicately. We agreed Henry would start paperwork at once. I needed to supply property certificate copy, which I kept in my wallet envelope with key documents. Years of postal foresight served well for once. 4 days later, Henry called on Pinehaven phone, saying paperwork ready. House listed, no address, just area and features. Several interested buyers. You have first showing tomorrow. Mr. Landon. He said, I arranged with administration. You are listed for Botanical Gardens trip. Henry? I lowered my voice, though alone. Are you not concerned this is, well, not entirely legal, I mean, deceiving administration, secret meetings? Mr. Landon, he sounded certain. You are a capable citizen temporarily in care. You have privacy rights and property management. If administration thinks you view cacti but instead tour your property with buyers, that is your prerogative. No house arrest. His words boosted me. Indeed, nothing illegal. I merely disposed of my property as fit. Next day, I donned my best and only suit Beatrice permitted, joined elderly waiting for Botanical Gardens bus. When bus arrived, I slipped away discreetly to a black sedan around the building corner. Fine day for property viewing. Yes, Henry smiled, opening the door. En route to my house. Henry described first buyer. Middle-aged New York couple seeking vacation home. They offer well but want full interior remodel. Thus all your remaining items must vacate. Most already garaged, thanks to Beatrice, I said bitterly. Ethan vowed to keep them for me, but I doubt it. We can add contract clause for retaining and delivering personal items, Henry suggested, or arrange removal pre-finalization. On arrival, Henry drove past first, scanning, your son's car absent, he noted, but another in driveway. Beatrice, perhaps home? Disappointment hit? Or her parents already there? Let us check. Henry phoned. Hello, Clean Stream Plumbing. We got a neighborhood plumbing inspection request. Anyone home next 2 hours? He listened, smiled at me. Understood. Thanks. We come tomorrow. He hung up. No one home. Neighbor's car, left in your drive during their repair. The answering woman said all out for day. Your son at work. Daughter-in-law and parents at Rehoboth Beach Furniture Store selecting new bedroom pieces. For my bedrooms, I clarified. Anger rising. Do not fret. They will select for another house soon. Henry winked. Turned car. We have 3 hours before return. Ample for viewing. The New York couple, the Websters, waited nearby at a cafe. They were as imagined, polished, confident, with expressions of those used to obtaining desires. Mrs. Webster examined the house meticulously, like spending much and wanting perfection. Layout not bad, but so outdated, she said. Tracing kitchen counter. We must fully redo kitchen and baths. Sound view excellent. Mr. Webster said from living room window. Lot spacious enough. Could add pool. I watched silently as strangers debated my home's future, planning to demolish and rebuild rooms of my life's bulk. Painful yet freeing. I realized home is walls and roof. True memories reside within. Untouchable. Unrebuildable. Webster stayed an hour, querying utilities, roof age, foundation state. Henry answered professionally, consulting me occasionally, at end. Mrs. Webster addressed me. Mr. Landon, your agent noted you want guest house residency, right? But I see none. Not yet, I admitted, but lot space allows building one. She frowned. That complicates. We planned vacation use, not sharing lot with, she hesitated, avoiding obvious. An elder, I understand. I nodded. Perhaps we mismatch, returning to Pinehaven. I voiced doubts to Henry. Guesthouse idea may be unrealistic. Who buys with such encumbrance? Webster's not sole prospects, Henry said confidently. Tomorrow another client, better fit. He seeks permanent Hyannisport move. Not just vacation, we. Next day brought another outing. Officially local history museum. Henry waited around corner. We drove to house, confirming empty first. Thomas Barton differed from expectation. Instead of typical rich businessman in costly suit, a tall, fit man about 55, in simple pants and rolled sleeve shirt, graying temples, tanned face with eye corner wrinkles indicated outdoor time. Mr. Landon. He shook firmly. Pleasure meeting. Henry told your story. I admire your resolve. Unlike Webster's, Barton viewed house not as remodel but future home. He asked about neighbors, area changes over years, house history and our life with Margaret. I always dreamed of Waterside House. He said in backyard. Last 30 years. Ran Midwest hotel chain. Started one motel from father. Expanded gradually. Sold to major firm last year. Now afford desired living? And guesthouse clause bothers you not? I asked directly. Not at all. Barton smiled. You know, Mr. Landon, as boy my grandfather lived with us. Small house addition, 1 room, bath, tiny kitchen. But magical to me. Grandfather shared war stories, taught fishing, fixing things. When gone, I missed him deeply. He surveyed lot, mentally calculating. Far corner could hold nice guest house. Separate entry but near main. 2 bedrooms, living room, kitchen, perhaps small terrace overlooking sound. What think you? Sounds nearly ideal. I admitted, hiding how moved by his words. I am not suggesting you become my grandfather. Barton laughed, noting my discomfort. But I value life experience and tales. And like having someone knowing house history, caring years, gives place soul, you know. I did. And first time since Ethan and Beatrice arrived with bags, I felt hope. Post-viewing. Barton offered 15% over market, conditioned on building guest house to my specs and lifelong residency, right? Plus, he insisted contract clause ensuring access to all personal items in house and garage pre-final. I want fairness. He said, your son and daughter-in-law wronged you, but our deal unmarred by future disputes. Over next week, Henry arranged more viewings where Barton and I discussed details, met lawyer drafting documents. Barton brought architect for guesthouse plans. Construction takes 3 months. Architect said, showing sketches. But you will love outcome. Fully independent, own heat and air, modern kitchen, age-adapted bath. I viewed blueprints. Seeing my future, not dull Pinehaven room, but cozy house overlooking sound. Spending remaining years with dignity. Finally, 3 weeks post first meet. Paperwork ready. Met at Lewis lawyer office. I signed sale. Barton gave deposit check. Balance to account post-registration. Congratulations. Mr. Landon, lawyer said. Shaking hand. Deal registers in 4 business days. Then house officially Mr. Barton's. What of my son and family, I asked. Must they vacate? Law allows new owner demand exit within 40 days post-registration. Lawyer replied. But Mr. Barton's choice. 40 days fair. Barton nodded. Enough to find new residents. Leaving office, I felt odd relief, mixed anxiety. Plan succeeded. Sold house, secured future. Taught Ethan and Beatrice lesson. But their reaction, what say on meeting, do not worry. Mr. Landon, Barton said. As reading thoughts, I will be there for news delivery. Together handle any response. Thank you. Mr. Barton, I said sincerely. For all, call me Thomas. He smiled. We will be neighbors. Driving back to Pinehaven, I viewed passing scenery, pondering life's dramatic shift in those 3 weeks. From rejected, humiliated elder to destiny controller. Sold house become prison. Ensured new future. Thanks to chance Frank meet and nephew. As Henry dropped me, I spotted Ethan's car in lot. Heart raced. Had he learned of sale impossible? Paperwork unregistered? Henry, appointed car. My son. Do not fret. He reassured. Likely routine visit. Perhaps finally visiting as promised. I nodded, doubting. Ethan visited not once since placing me in Pinehaven. Even Allison, promising visits, had not appeared. What tell him, I asked. Uncertain. Nothing yet, Henry advised. Deal unregistered. Better wait official before announcement. Mr. Barton and I fetch you in 4 days when done. Ethan did visit, though visit overstates what occurred. He stayed under 40 minutes at Pinehaven, mostly griping work, asking my health like I was fading. No word on home return. No hint exile might end. Before leaving, he mentioned casually, "By the way, Dad, we host a small celebration Saturday. Beatrice's father, Gary, turned 76. And party at my house, I could not hide bitterness." Ethan frowned, as if surprised. "Well, technically still yours. But you mind not, we live there. Beatrice's parents too now, already moved. I knew but wanted his confirmation. Yes, last week." He looked guilty briefly, then composed. "Sold Rehoboth Beach House. Now with us. Remodeled upstairs rooms slightly. Hope you mind not. I thought of papers signed 4 days ago. Check in Henry's safe. Architect's guest house plans. My secrets. Small revenge for betrayal. Moment to reveal neared." "I mind not," I lied, smiling. "Big house, room for all." Ethan relaxed, relieved by my compliance. "Good. Knew you would understand. It is temporary until we—" He trailed, avoiding end. "Until find me better than Pinehaven saw dumb," I suggested. Tone friendly. "Exactly." He nodded. Missing irony. "Beatrice and I seek superior options." "Pinehaven certainly not where you spend your—" He paused. "Rest of days." I prompted. "Near future, I meant—" Ethan smiled awkwardly. After he left, I sat by window long, viewing lot, thinking Saturday. Henry promised paperwork filed by Friday. Thomas and I planned morning visit, but hearing party, thought announcing amid guests better. Let Ethan and Beatrice face public humiliation like my eviction. I called Henry from Frank's phone, relayed son talk, could benefit us. Henry agreed, after thought. With guests present, harder for scandal. They save face. How explain my presence? They invited me not. Mr. Barton can call ahead, say wants house view as buyer. They unaware sold, say urgent, flew in. Only Saturday time. Risky plan, but I liked. First time long. Felt adrenaline rush. Excitement thought age left behind. Friday passed with final formalities. Henry called evening, confirmed deal registered. House no longer mine. Belongs Thomas Barton? I phoned your son. Henry said. Posed as Mr. Barton's agent. Said client very interested buying their house. Wishes view tomorrow, 2 afternoon. What Ethan say, I asked nervously. Imagining talk. First surprised. Said house not for sale. I apologized misunderstanding. Explained database error, but added Mr. Barton offers well above market. Your son intrigued. Indeed, I grinned. Ethan never missed profit chance. Said family event tomorrow, but spare half-hour confirmed too. Mr. Barton and I collect you Pinehaven 1:30. I slept little that night. Replaying scene. How Ethan react, learning house sold. What Beatrice say her parents. Scared yet glad. Morning. Shaved thoroughly. Donned only suit. Polished old shoes. Wanted dignified for triumph at 1:30 precise. Henry and Thomas Barton waited Pinehaven entrance. Thomas in flawless navy suit. Worn with casual elegance of wealth accustomed, ready for big day. Oliver, he asked, shaking hand. Ready as can be, I replied. Heart pounding. En route house. Reviewed plan again. Thomas play interested buyer till inside. Then I announced truth. No abrupt moves, Henry warned. Your son may challenge. Claim incapacity or pressure. Give no cause. I will be reasonable. I promised. Though emotions stormed inside. Arriving. Saw party prep full swing. Cars in drive. Catering uniformed bustling entrance. Unloading food drinks. Grand affair, Thomas said. Parking Mercedes among others. We exited. Approached house. Knees shook but walked steady. Henry beside. Ready support if needed. Ethan opened door. Shirt half unbuttoned. Towel in hand. Mid-prep. Mr. Dawson. He extended hand to Henry. Thanks advance notice. Celebration tonight. Limited time. He paused, spotting me behind Henry and Thomas. Eyes widened. Handshake froze. Dad. He looked ghost-struck. "What are you doing here?" "Hello?" "Ethan." I tried calm, confident voice. "I came to see my home. Or rather, former home." "What mean you?" Ethan glanced me to Henry and Thomas. "Puzzling events?" "Allow introduction." Thomas stepped, offering hand. "Thomas Barton. This house's new owner." Knew what Ethan shook hand. Face bewildered. "Ethan, who is it?" Beatrice emerged, rear. Elegant dress, hair makeup done. Froze seeing me. "Oliver, what happens? Perhaps enter and discuss?" Henry suggested. "Sure, neither wants undue attention." Ethan stepped aside, silently. "Admitting us. Inside. Party ready. Long living room table, white-clothed. Plates, glasses laden. Flowers, candles everywhere. Soft classical from speakers." "Explain this," Ethan demanded in living room. "Simple." I answered. "I sold house to Mr. Barton. Deed registered yesterday. Vacate within 40 days. Silence deafening. Beatrice stared as if I claimed Mars' origin. Ethan paled, then flushed. Joke voice shook anger. "You could not sell. You in nursing home. A capable citizen right to property disposal. Henry completed. House Oliver Landon's name. No legal sale bars. Impossible." Beatrice shook head. "We live here. My parents sold house move here. What occurs elderly couple? Clearly Gary and Patricia Peterson, entered. Gary tall, gaunt, military bearing. Patricia small, authoritative with styled gray hair. Who these mom-dad Beatrice turned, voice faltering. Oliver. Ethan's father. Says sold house." Sold Patricia eyed me disbelieving. "How sell from nursing home via realtor? As usual, I replied, sarcasm unchecked. "Look," Ethan composed, "misunderstanding surely. My father. He not fully aware actions. Old confusion moments. Stop. Ethan." Voice firmer, expected. "You know I sound mind. You and Beatrice evicted me for her parents. Sent to Pine Haven. More unwanted elders' warehouse than decent spot. Did not visit save once. For party report. Uninvited by way. Planned retrieve you." Ethan objected. "Needed time settle. Help Beatrice's parents. Do not lie." I shook head. Never intended retrieve. I became inconvenience. Discarded? "Outrageous," Patricia interjected. "Ethan said you agreed nursing home for needed care." "He agreed." Ethan glared angrily. "Now revenges, not revenge," I countered. "Regained life control. Mr. Barton offered good price. Agreed build guest house on lot for my residence. No more rotting Pine Haven. No mercy dependent." "Guest house," Beatrice exclaimed. Turned Thomas. "Seriously build cabin. Let him live your property." "Absolutely," Thomas nodded. "Deal term. Fully support. Oliver deserves decent life in loved place." "Insane." Ethan shook head. "Deal cannot legal. Father in care facility. Could not decide alone. Here, sale copy. Henry extracted briefcase folder, and registry extract confirming. All legal. Oliver deemed capable by independent doctor, pre-sign." Ethan snatched papers, scanned frantically for error or loophole. "Impossible," he murmured. "How could you—" Doorbell rang. Beatrice startled. Checked watch, guests arriving. "And this here, perhaps cancel party," Gary suggested. Silent till now. Observing drama. Cancel Patricia looked scandalized. "Impossible. All en route. Food ordered. Musicians paid. Then host. Pretend fine," I said. "Mr. Barton and I will not ruin party. Just deliver news personally. Discuss vacate timeline." "Vacate." Beatrice's voice rose. "Evict us, your son. Grandchildren. Where go same you sent me?" I answered calm. "Find fitting place your means. 40 days. More than you gave pack." Doorbell rang insistent. Beatrice glared, searing. "Went open. We contest deal." Ethan hissed. She left. "You could not decide alone." "Incapacity placed?" "What incapacity?" "Ethan, I met eyes. You know healthy when sent Pine Haven. Only incapacity hindering your plans." First guests entered. Unknown elderly couple. Stopped doorway, sensing tension. "Bad time," man asked uncertainly. "No. Enter." Beatrice returned. strained smile, discussing family issues. Meet Ethan's father Oliver, his friends, business associates, Thomas corrected, nodding polite. Next half hour passed tense, odd atmosphere. Guests arrived. Beatrice and Ethan feigned normal, but forced smiles. Nervous glances betrayed. Patricia whispered arguments with Gary room corner. Occasional angry glares me, I observed with near satisfaction. Not glee, more relief justice served. They discarded me as waste. Now faced same uncertainty. Finally, 20 guests about. Thomas approached, message delivered. I think, he said softly. Leave them digest. I nodded, suddenly weary. Hour's emotional toll hit. Thomas, Henry, I headed exit. Ethan intercepted door. Not over? He said low. Guests unheard, fight for house. Cannot toss us street. Not tossing street, I replied calm. 40 days fine new? Unlike you. Not barring take all things. You regret, he said, eyes threatening. Regretted much already. Ethan, I said, heart clenching. Regret not seeing man you became. Regret letting you Beatrice manipulate, but never regret reclaiming life control. I exited without backward glance. Thomas and Henry followed. In car, I breathed finally. All right, Oliver Thomas asked, concerned. Yes, I replied. Surprise truth. Fine. First time long? Truly fine. Driving from house. Rear view showed Ethan porch staring after. Face anger twisted, but behind. Fear? Fear. Man sudden control loss. Unknowing next. Exact feeling I had to Pine Haven. Though not vengeful. Could not deny circle closed. Where now, Henry asked. Main road. Pine Haven. I replied. Must pack. Then wait new house ready. Do not worry timing. Thomas said. Contacted contractors, start guest house next week. Meantime, hotel my expense. Thank you. I looked grateful. For everything. Driving Pine Haven. Thought faces Ethan Beatrice learning sold. Panic Patricia eyes realizing remove. Ruined party planned my now ex-home. Felt no schadenfreude, no. But satisfaction justice done. They sought discard, write off, forget. But showed still force reckoned. Day's post-party visit became real war. Ethan called Pine Haven multiple daily. Alternating lawsuit threats and sense pleas. Hired lawyer seek contract loopholes. But Henry too skilled for errors. Dad, you unaware doing. Ethan said one call, left us homeless. Where go children? Beatrice's parents. You good salaries, I answered calm. Rent apartment house like millions. But house practically ours. He indignant. Promised inheritance. Phrase revealed true anger. Cause. Not houseless. Ethan Beatrice afford rent, buy. But viewed house theirs. Planned post-death use. I ruined. Never promised house you. I reminded. Said ensure fair estate divide you, sister. Anna. My daughter Oregon. Visited seldom but called holidays. Sent grandkids photos. No house claim. Never interfered life. Decided long she get equal. Though Ethan felt deserved more for care. Anna visits not, Ethan exclaimed. Lives country other side. Comes every 6 years. Least not sent nursing home room or family. I countered. After Ethan tactic shift, 3 days later. Beatrice grandchildren at Pine Haven. Tyler annoyed. Forced come. But Allison genuinely glad, see. Grandpa. She hugged common room meet. Missed you much. Missed too, dear. I replied. Touched warmth. How college good? She smiled. Excellent economics project grade. You know finance study I unaware. Time lived them, no mention Allison finance. Beatrice sat beside. Odd smile. Occasional awkward compliments. Oliver. Look great. Nursing home clearly benefits. Cozy vibe. She surveyed dreary Pine Haven Common as 5-star. Do not pretend. Beatrice, I said direct. Both know awful. Why glad soon leave? About that. She lowered voice. Leaned. Ethan, I thought. Perhaps renegotiate, Mr. Barton. Buy back soon funds found. Meantime, Return home live as before. I barely contained laugh. As before meant small downstairs room. No voice. Constant humiliation complaints. Thanks. Prefer new plan. I replied. Guest house construction started, ready 2 months half. 2 months half Beatrice disbelieving. Where live meantime Thomas rented Lewis apartment. I smiled, shocked face. Ocean view. Move tomorrow. But that crazy, she exclaimed. Alone age. If sick fall who care? Hired nurse twice weekly? I answered. Rest time capable self-care. Not invalid Beatrice, despite convince all. Beatrice lips pressed. Silent. Allison watched, interested. Grasping dynamics. Grandpa. She said pause. May visit new apartment. Come weekends. Help settle? Sure, dear, I touched offer. Always welcome. Beatrice disapproving glanced daughter, but silent. Visit rest strained polite. Leaving. Allison hugged, whispered. Glad no more horrible place, Grandpa. Next day. Moved Thomas, rented Lewis apartment. Spacious 1-bedroom new building, large windows. Modern kitchen. No stairs thresholds. Ideal elder. First entry. Struck freedom spaciousness after cramped Pine Haven. Cook want. Watch TV when. Shower no queue. Sleep no neighbor snore thin wall. Thomas handled all. Furnished. Fridge stocked. Table folder documents. Caregiver contract. Doctor schedule. Emergency numbers. Surprising. Investment plan sale money. Took liberty my financial advisor. Thomas explained arrival check. Assembled portfolio options. Your needs. No risk. Mostly safe bonds, dividend stocks. Steady income. Exceed expenses without pension. His care struck. Thomas treated not burden or lesser age, but equal opinions desires matter. Weak post-move. Met advisor Laurel. Young woman patiently explained strategies without patronizing elder tone. Mr. Landon. Sale amount current savings afford comfortable life. She said charts tables. Bulk this portfolio. Monthly 3 times expenses. Pension aside. Listening. Wonder joy grew. Life frugal, saving. Rare self-spoil. Now 78. Suddenly wealthy. What do money, I asked, impressive figures. Laurel smiled. Whatever want. Mr. Landon. Travel. Hobbies. Help grandchildren studies. Buy always wanted thought pricey. Live fullest. Live fullest. Phrase stuck. Not deprived years since Margaret, death become self-shadow. Existing day-day, no purpose, joy, evening. Listed always wanted, but delayed money, time, courage. Europe trip. Margaret I dreamed. Caribbean cruise. Photography classes. Always loved. Never professional. New wardrobe, weekly, least fine restaurant. Margaret said life short, not good meal. List viewing felt alive, long time. Purpose. Future plans. Means fulfill. Allison kept promise. Visited regular, every Saturday. Time together, promenade walks. Cafe lunches. Sometimes balcony talks. She shared studies. Future plans. Friends' hobbies. Listened. Thought how little knew grandchildren lives same roof. Ethan Beatrice continued manipulate try. Called, wrote. Unannounced visits couple. New arguments predicament. Help. Dad. Cannot find decent housing budget. Ethan complained visit. Market overheated. Perhaps smaller apartment, I suggested. No longer need 5 bedrooms. But children. Beatrice parents. He resented. No cramped. Tyler works. Rent-own. I said, Beatrice parents got good from Rehoboth sale. Can rent by own? Ethan Beatrice not expected informed finances. Thought take word. Concede as before. If not care. Think grandchildren inheritance Beatrice tactic shift. Allison Tyler deserves stable future. Already handled, I replied. Placed sale money education trusts Allison Tyler. Funds post-grad, ready independent. Trusts structured neither Ethan Beatrice access, money education seed solely grandchildren. Ethan Beatrice faces lengthened. Expected control funds aside, grandchildren. But us Ethan asked finally. Your family. Children. Leave nothing looked son, wife. Seeking genuine concern, love, faces. Saw only greed, irritation. Given more deserve already. I said calm, lived my house, used things, ruled life. Now my turn live self. After Visits rarer. Calls shorter. Realized no more manipulate. Gradually ceased money attempts. Meanwhile, guesthouse construction progressed quicker planned. Thomas sent photos, videos regular. Consulted interior, colors, furniture. Enthusiastic as building own. Always dreamed big family. He confided day site tour. But wife died young. No children. Life business devoted. Only now years slope realized missed vital. Never late start family, I said. Maybe not blood, but caring truly. He looked grateful. No Oliver Glad met. Remind my father. Straightforward, honest, dignity sense, always respected qualities. 2 months Lewis living transformed me. Regular seafront walks, health improved. New wardrobe, haircut, appearance changed. Time, money, freedom, restored self-worth. Enrolled local college photography course. Met enthusiastic same-age group. Often photo shoots. Capturing ocean sunrises, local architecture. Shorebirds. Among new friends, Elizabeth Parker, 73 widow, former literature teacher, sharp mind, subtle humor, quickly common ground. Spent more time. Movies. Restaurants. Local Philharmonic concerts. Changed. Grandpa. Allison noted visit. Long since saw happy. Waterfront cafe, Saturday brunch. Just shown dawn photos. Misty beach. Gulls waves. Fisherman boat see. Feel different. I admitted. Like lifted heavy unaware, carried weight. Dad, Mom, unfair you. She said quiet. New. Afraid, contradict. Sorry that. Took hand. No apologize. Dear. Child-dependent parents. No expect defend. But could visited Pinehaven. Tears eyes. Promised. Came not once. Here now. I smiled. Main thing. Conversation interrupted phone. Elizabeth inviting library poetry evening. Accepted. Finished. Noticed Allison curious look. Who? She asked, slight smile. Friend. I answered. Blushing teen-like. Elizabeth Parker. Met photography. Just friend. Allison eyebrow raised. Or special. Unsure, say. Elizabeth, I never discussed relation. But lately anticipated meetings. Noted dress, hair, perfume. Do not know. I admitted honest. But enjoy time her. Allison smiled, broad open. Happy you, Grandpa. Deserve happy. Early July. Nearly 4 months post-sale. Guest house ready. Exceeded expectations. Spacious, bright. Large windows, sound view. Comfortable furnishings. Age adaptations. Bath handrails. No thresholds. Wide doors, future walker wheelchair possible. Thomas hosted small housewarming. Invited Frank nephew, Allison, Nurse Martha, Elizabeth, photography friends. Ethan Beatrice, not. Though new, still Hyannisport area. Rented nearby house. Terrace new home champagne hand. Surrounded genuine happy. Felt extraordinary peace. Sound stretched before, like 40 years ago, Margaret I first viewed, sun setting, painting skywater pink gold like enjoyed sunsets. To new life. Thomas said, glass raised, to new life. All echoed. Elizabeth beside, hand lightly mine. Allison talked frank, laughing jokes. Martha arranged appetizers, occasional approving smile, me, raised glass. Added, and lessons never late learn. Courage restart even time seems short. Appreciating each day. Never let others decide live lives. All drank toast, conversation flowed, but stood longer, viewing sound, pondering path here, betrayal pain, loss gain, closed open doors. No bitterness, Ethan Beatrice, though not fully forgive. Made choices. I mine. Perhaps someday common ground. Perhaps not. Not vital now. Vital at 78, finally learned self first. Learned no manipulators. Yes, new chances, joys on. Learned live present, not past or vague future. Elizabeth touched arm, soft, thinking what? Oliver looked her. Beautiful woman, intelligent eyes. Gray hair, elegant. Thought life surprises full. Never late new chapter? I replied, squeezing hand. Grateful fate, everything. Even hard. Brought here this moment. Know what would not trade anything. Stood side, watching sunset over sound. Felt finally found lifelong seek, not just home, belonging sense, not comfort. True freedom. Be self. Choose path. Savor every moment life offers. And freedom, peace, tranquility. Finally found happiness. Not great feats material, but simple joys. Friends' laughter, hand touch, sunset rays, water. Knowledge tomorrow, new day, opportunities full. Day belong only me. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a final golden glow over Nantucket Sound. I could not help but reflect on the journey that had brought me here. Oliver Landon, our resilient protagonist, stands as a beacon of quiet strength. At 78, he faced betrayal from those closest to him, yet he chose not to succumb to despair. Instead, he reclaimed his life with dignity and resolve. His story reminds us that age is no barrier to courage. Consider Ethan and Beatrice, his son and daughter-in-law. Their actions, driven by selfishness and convenience, paint a cautionary tale. They viewed Oliver as an obstacle, discarding him like an outdated possession, in their pursuit of comfort. They lost sight of family bonds and respect. Their scheming backfired, forcing them to confront the consequences of their choices. It is a stark reminder that manipulation and ingratitude often lead to isolation and regret. The grandchildren, Tyler and Allison, offer contrasting glimpses of hope and detachment. Tyler's indifference highlights how younger generations can become absorbed in their own worlds, missing opportunities for connection. Allison, however, shines with empathy. Her warnings and visits show the power of genuine care, bridging generational gaps. She represents the potential for redemption and understanding within families. Supporting characters like Frank Dawson and Henry add layers of friendship and expertise. Frank's timely advice sparked Oliver's plan, proving that old bonds can reignite in unexpected ways. Henry's professionalism ensured success, emphasizing the value of trustworthy allies. Thomas Barton, the benevolent buyer, embodies kindness and shared humanity. His willingness to build a guest house for Oliver illustrates that compassion from strangers can heal wounds inflicted by kin. Elizabeth Parker brings a touch of romance and renewal. Her presence in Oliver's life underscores that love and companionship can bloom at any age. Together, these characters weave a tapestry of human flaws and virtues, showing how relationships shape our paths. This story holds profound value, teaching us timeless lessons. First, it affirms that self-respect must come before pleasing others. Oliver's transformation from victim to victor teaches us to set boundaries and prioritize our well-being. Second, it warns against taking loved ones for granted. Ethan's betrayal highlights how greed can erode family ties, urging us to cherish and honor our elders. The humanistic message resonates deeply. In a world that often sidelines the aging, this tale celebrates their wisdom and vitality. It calls for empathy, reminding us that everyone deserves autonomy and joy, regardless of years. Oliver's rebirth inspires us to embrace change, seek new beginnings, and find happiness in simple moments. If this story touched you, as it has me, take a moment to reflect on your own life. Have you valued those around you? Are you living fully? I encourage you to like this. If it moved you, share your thoughts in the comments below. Tell me about a time you reclaimed your path, or a lesson from your elders. And if you enjoyed this narrative, subscribe to the channel for more inspiring tales of resilience and heart. Your support means the world, helping spread these messages far and wide. Together, let us honor the stories that teach us to live with grace and purpose. Thank you for listening.